when a little girl is sold by her impoverished family, girls my daughter's age, runs away from home or is lured by the false promise of a better life and then imprisoned in a brothel and tortured if she resists, that's slavery. I'm talking about the injustice, the outrage of human trafficking. It is barbaric and it is evil, and it has no place in a civilized world.
It's not going to happen here. We're one of the wealthiest counties in the nation. It just wouldn't happen to us.
It's happening and affecting the majority of our high schools from one end of the county to the other. It may not be you, it may not be the student sitting in the chair right now, but it could be happening to that student's friend, that student's sister, sibling, cousin, someone they know.
When we talk about human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking, it's all about controlling another human being. The majority of the trafficking that we see here in Northern Virginia is sex trafficking, and particularly with our teen population.
Trafficking in general absolutely can happen to boys or girls. When we're talking about in Northern Virginia, there tends to be a little bit more focus on young girls if you're talking about gang-involved trafficking.
So they are lured into that lifestyle some way, into having sex for money, or not necessarily money, but just in exchange for anything of value. So if you have a young person, a teenager, who runs away from home, and she's picked up by an individual that says, hey, I'll give you food and shelter if you have sex with me. That's part of what we're talking about. That is teen sex trafficking. Or her boyfriend says, you know what, we're gonna go live in this apartment over here, but you have to have sex with these guys for us to be able to rent the room. That's the same thing. So in exchange for anything of value is really what we're talking about. It could also be things like exotic dancing, stripping, things of that nature. So all these are kind of included with what we're talking about, this teen sex trafficking issue. A lot of people feel that this is something that only affects the immigrant population or foreign nationals, and that's absolutely not true. These traffickers are targeting girls and boys that were born right here in the United States, that have lived here their entire lives. So here in Fairfax County in Northern Virginia, we've worked with victims as young as 12, all the way up through adults.
I actually brought this up at a student advisory council meeting with students from all across the county, and none of them, they had the exact same reaction. None of them could believe it.
In Fairfax County, we have a huge problem that there is not a lot of attention going to because these victims don't disclose being victims. There's been, I would say, anywhere from 5 to 10 cases maybe prosecuted in Northern Virginia. However, that only speaks to maybe 2% of the victims. Victims are not going to report it. I think there was a research article that said only 0.5% of the victims actually report being victimized.
That particular group attempted to recruit over 800 girls here in Fairfax County that we know about. And I think what was a little scary for me during the course of that investigation was none of those 800 girls ever came forward and reported that they were attempted to be recruited into this.
This does unfortunately occur in our schools, in our middle schools, and our high schools, and it is something that students need to be aware of.
The fact that it's so pervasive is very frightening and something that we need to act upon as a community.